It began on Arcadia 4, a blue-green world orbiting the gentle star of Kepler 88. It was one of Earth's proudest colonies, not for its wealth, not for its power, but for its beauty. Oceans stretched like silver mirrors, forests whispered with alien winds, and beneath its sky lived nearly 2 million humans, scientists, farmers, families. They had built something pure, something peaceful, and then the Dravari came. They didn't come with diplomacy. They came with banners of conquest, a fleet of obsidian warships that darkened Arcadia's dawn. Their message, broadcast to every frequency, was simple. Humanity's reach exceeds its right. Arcadia now belongs to the Dravari ascendancy. The colony's defense grid, and barely a fraction of Earth's might, lit up in desperate defiance. The sky turned into fire. Civilian freighters tried to flee, children hidden beneath reactor bunkers as orbital strikes scorched continents. Within 6 hours, Arcadia's capital, Port Althea, was ash and bone. The Dravari commanders watched from orbit as human screams faded into static. Their leader, Vakar Thun, gave the order that would ignite a legend. Bury the human dead where they fall. Let the soil remember who its new masters are. They didn't just take Arcadia, they defiled it. Mass graves carved into once fertile valleys. Colonists burned where they stood. The Dravari raised their empire's flag on the ruins, declaring it Dravari Prime. And they celebrated. Mockery from the stars in the following months. The galaxy's networks pulsed with Dravari propaganda. Their broadcasts were cruel, arrogant, showing Arcadia's cities now converted into Dravari strongholds. Human skeletons used as cautionary warnings at gates. They called us soft-shelled primates, a species too sentimental to rule the stars. Even the Galactic Council, those self-proclaimed arbiters of peace, turned away. No sanctions, no outrage, just silence. Humanity, they said, should not provoke another war. To the Dravari, this silence was victory. Their generals feasted. Their nobles mocked the Earthborn. Their emperor toasted across systems. Humans talk of honor, of peace. But when their colonies burn, they kneel and weep. They believed Earth was powerless, that we were fractured, too cautious to fight back, that humanity's will was a relic of our old wars, buried beneath diplomacy and restraint. They forgot who we are. The silence before the storm. For nearly 4 months, Earth said nothing. No statement, no retaliation. The galaxy began to believe the Dravari's words. But deep beneath Luna's surface, within the Terran Defense Command, silence wasn't surrender. It was preparation. Admiral Rhea Calder, commander of the 7th Expeditionary Fleet, stood before a darkened holomap of the Dravari sectors. Around her, officers moved in disciplined calm. Not rage, not panic, but precision. She didn't speak to the press. She didn't seek council approval. She only said one thing to her fleet. They buried our people in Arcadia's soil. We'll return the favor, with theirs. Across the solar system, the engines of vengeance roared to life. The Nemesis, Odyssey, and Vigilant Dawn, dreadnoughts the size of cities, began undocking from Saturn's yards. Railgun platforms rose from the Martian forges. Fleets of stealth cruisers vanished into warp shadows, and somewhere in the void, black project ships, humanity's hidden ghosts, began their silent journey toward Arcadia. When the Galactic Council finally realized what was happening, it was too late. Humanity had gone dark. The sky that screamed. The Dravari first noticed something strange 3 weeks later. Small disappearances along their borders. A listening post gone silent, a patrol fleet found adrift, hulls peeled open like fruit. No distress calls. No survivors. Their admirals dismissed it. Pirates, they said. Human scavengers seeking revenge. Then Arcadia's orbit went quiet. The defense satellites failed. The atmosphere shimmered with electromagnetic ghosts. Every Dravari scanner turned to static, and then the sky screamed. The human fleet emerged not with warning, not with negotiation, but with fury. Thousands of ships tore through slipspace at once, ripping open the heavens. Their hulls bore no insignia, only black plating and cold light. The Dravari command tried to rally, but human ships weren't fighting by their rules. Kinetic strikes fell from orbit like thunderbolts. Drop pods rained across Arcadia's continents, each carrying soldiers in armor that glowed with plasma fire. We came to reclaim our dead, Admiral Calder's voice echoed across every open channel. And you will join them. Dravari dreadnoughts turned to flee, only to find warp routes collapsing around them. Earth's engineers had seeded the sector with gravitational mines. The Dravari were trapped, inside the grave they had dug. For every human life lost on Arcadia, 1,000 Dravari died. Cities that once displayed human bones now burned under orbital bombardment. The fields where they buried our dead became craters of molten glass. Human ground troops, veterans of Titan, Mars, Europa, moved through streets with ruthless precision. And in the heart of Arcadia's capital, the flag of the Dravari ascendancy was torn down, replaced by a single human banner. Black, with a silver wreath of stars, the Earthborn had returned. Retribution without mercy. The war did not stop at Arcadia. Humanity didn't seek surrender. We sought remembrance. From Arcadia, the 7th Fleet moved through the Dravari frontier like a wildfire. Their strongholds fell one by one, not occupied, not spared, erased. Entire Dravari planets, once teeming with arrogance, were now silent husks. Every broadcast from Earth carried the same message. Arcadia is avenged. The soil remembers its true owners. The Dravari tried to call for peace. Their envoys begged for parley, offering tribute, territory, anything. But the response was a whisper that chilled the stars. You claimed our land. You buried our people. Now you will learn what grows in graves, and what grew was vengeance. Human fleets split the Dravari Empire apart. Their core worlds fell within a month. Their emperor fled to the edge of the galaxy, hiding in what was once called the impenetrable nebula. The nemesis found him. The human dreadnought's railgun fired once, and the nebula burned for 3 days. By the war's end, the Dravari ascendancy no longer existed. Their records were erased, their banners dust. Only their ruins remained, and beneath them, the graves of both species, the price of peace. When the war was finally over, the fleets returned to silence. Arcadia was unrecognizable, a scarred, haunted world, but human again. Engineers rebuilt its cities, and its soil was consecrated with the ashes of both the fallen and the Avengers. A monument was raised at the site of Port Althea, a monolith of obsidian and steel, inscribed with a single line, "They claimed our land, and buried in its graves." The galaxy watched in silence. Empires that once mocked humanity now bowed their heads when a Terran fleet entered orbit. Treaties were rewritten, borders redrawn. No one dared to challenge Earth again. In the council halls, whispers spread that humanity had become something more than mortal, that the species once known for compassion had shown a side that the stars themselves feared. Patience turned to wrath, mercy turned to retribution. Admiral Calder never returned to public life. She retired to Arcadia, to the place where it all began. When asked why Earth didn't conquer the galaxy after such a victory, her answer was simple. We don't conquer graves, we remember them. The whisper among the stars centuries later, when new species reach for the stars, they still find the ruins of the Dravari, worlds stripped of life, haunted by silence. And in that silence, every traveler knows the story of the humans, the story of a world taken, of people buried, and the vengeance that followed. It's told as a warning in alien academies, whispered in the shadows of starports. Never claim what belongs to Earth. Never wake the ones who build their homes on ashes. Because somewhere, in the darkness between stars, Earth's fleets still wait, engines cold, guns silent, watching, waiting for the next empire arrogant enough to believe humanity can be conquered. And when that day comes, the galaxy already knows how the story will end. They'll claim what isn't theirs, and they'll be buried in the graves they dug themselves.